First of all, of course, the question is, how are you doing at the moment?
Pretty well, thank you. We just started the tour. This is the third show. Usually when we start a tour, we need like 2 or 3 shows to warm up and play good stuff. But on this tour, we started the good shows already on the second one. So it means that tonight it's going to be, I think, at least something decent. So I feel pretty good, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you just started the European tour. First of all in Dresden, then yesterday in Oberhausen. How things are going so far? Now, yeah, you told already a little bit about it.
Very good. Yeah, it's going well. For sure, it's much better. Talking about my health, because I just went back sick as a dog from American tour, because of the air condition and everything. I was sick through the entire tour. So now I think I finally got rested and I feel better. So far it's much better than in a month ago.
So full power again?
No, I'm not sure full power, but for sure something at a decent level. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Today you play a show in a known club in Holland, of course, Hedon Zwolle. What do you think about the clubs in Holland and the Dutch fans?
Well, actually, we've played in here 2 years ago, but now we've noticed that the venue is a little bit bigger. Well, Dutch clubs and Dutch audience, these are our first experience abroad, so we always kind of connected, and we have lots of good positive moods. I know we've got lots of friends in here, and the fans are very, they're very into our music, and it's simply very we feel here very good, almost like at home. So, and the Dutch clubs, they're just example how the club should looks like, and we always compare everything that we can find during the tour to Dutch clubs. It's just like let's say that we are somewhere in Munich, and we just saying, well, it's not Holland, unfortunately. Right, so it's just like this.
Oh yeah, and what about Poland, your home country, and the clubs?
Well, we've got a few clubs which are on a decent level, but there's lots of clubs that they need to,
develop or
exactly. They needs to be developed and pay more attention to, probably. So.
Yeah, but I think a club like Proxima, for instance.
Yeah.
But it is the same level, let's say, as this, or?
No, I don't think so. I think Dutch clubs are much better. So what can I say? It's just like 100% of good quality for us. From our perspective, it's just like this. And I'm not saying this because I'm now in Holland. We don't know where we're talking.
Yeah. All right. There will be about 22 European Riverside shows on this tour. Is this the biggest European tour in the history of Riverside?
No. We've played a lot of shows already. The European tour, I mean, during Shrine of New Generation Slaves, we played like 100 shows. So we just started to promote this album. Probably for sure we'll go back. So in the middle of next year, I will answer this question.
Okay. All right.
So far, we're in a good way to make the biggest European tour so far, yeah.
All right, so things will come across and it will go on, let's say. The tour is all about your new release called Love, Fear and the Time Machine. It came out in September 2015. How this album was received by the press and the fans?
Very good. I think it is one of the best responses that we had. I know that we've been on the it was like 4th place in Holland, so pretty nice, I think.
Oh, in Germany also,
in top 5. Yeah, in Germany it was like top 20.
Okay.
I think the 16. So in Poland we've been number 2 or number 1. But that's it about selling stuff at the beginning of the selling. But the responses and all these reviews are pretty amazing. So what can we say?
Yeah.
We can say that we're very happy. And that's true that this album, I mean, we are just promoting this album, but we're not only focused on the new tracks, we want to play everything that we can to prove or maybe to show where we are in this moment as a band. So we also play old tracks, not only the...
Yes, of course. Oh, okay. Also the older ones. Yeah, that is also nice.
What do you think about the album? Do you think this is the best you ever released, or?
Actually, I think that we showed on this album that we are not Dream Theater type of band. That what is most important in our music is emotional side, and both lyric and music wise side, and we proved. I think we showed on this album what is the most important in our music. You know? So melodies, atmosphere, space, and so I think that this is the most Riverside-ish album. Plus, this is, let's say, my personal album, and for the first time I composed every song. So it's it's something new, maybe, because I finally wrote about it. But anyway, I think it shows where we are in this moment. If this is the best album, I don't know. This is a very subjective thing, you know. For many people, the best album depends on on their own situation, mental situation that they're just finding. Not people can't be objective. I can say, okay, this is the best one. You know? Sometimes the criticism and the critics says that this album is the best, but people prefer something different.
Yeah. So you never know, let's say.
So I never know. But I think we're just growing up. Yeah. We are more adult. We're more self-confident, both on the albums and on during playing shows.
And I think traveling the world is also some kind of...
For sure. I always said that you need to be on the market, you need to play shows, you need to exist like, I don't know, 20 years to finally reach some point. So we are somewhere in the middle of this road.
Yeah. Oh, great. I really like the cover of the album. Who was responsible for the creation of this cover?
The same guy as always, Travis Smith. I'm so happy that this time I think he finally found himself in our style. Because Travis, this is the guy who did the covers for Opeth, for Catatonia, Dead in Thousand. And we also had lots of dark covers in the past, but this time it's something more bright, more light, more positive. Yeah. So yeah, we're happy that we could do this together. It's just like the fact that we are the team, the band, the sound engineers, the studio, our graphic designer. We just do the same stuff all the time. I mean, we are the same people all the time, and with every album we try to push some boundaries and move on and surprise ourselves too. So we are very happy that together we can do different album, different sound, different production, and different artwork, for instance.
Yeah, great. Oh. Can you tell us where Love, Fear and the Time Machine is all about? Is there any message maybe you try to tell the listeners?
Well, I think it's about, and first of all, I think it's just, it's the concept album for sure. I didn't realize that, but I realized that when I wrote the lyrics. And Love, Fear and the Time Machine, this is the album about making a decision, making a very important life-changing decision, and about what's going on in your head when you need to make this important life-changing decision. Every day we make lots of decisions that are not so much important, but when it's regarding our health, our job, our, place of habit or something like this. This is important. So mostly it's just about someone who's lost at the beginning and he tries to make this decision. So love, this is like the freedom, excitement, something that comes to his mind and he feels very happy because of this. Of course, there's the fear of the unknown. He don't know what to expect, or she, I don't know. Love and fear, this is the most powerful forces to that rule the world and rule our life. But I add also this time machine because this music is full of nostalgia. So I think the experiences from the past and imagination about the future are always important when you have to make this important decision. And well, the last song is called Found, so it's mostly, I think, with a happy end. And so this is the story about making a decision.
Okay, great.
But you told you wrote everything, huh? Also the lyrics.
I'm the main composer in this band mostly, but you know, so far it was just like we always write music by Riverside. But this time I did almost everything, so I just thought, okay, maybe I will write music by Mariusz Duda this time, because that was the truth.
But the lyrics, are they a little bit personal, or is it more like fiction?
I think this is the most personal album that I've ever wrote. Yep. So, yeah. Lots of personal stuff.
Okay.
And how do you yourself describe the music of Riverside? Is it just a rock band, prog rock, maybe even metal?
We are always somewhere in between. I think between rock and metal, and between ambient electronic music and some classic progressive sounds. But I always have 4 words for this, our 4 seasons. It's just like joy, sadness, whisper and scream. All these things are in our music, and I think thanks to the new album we have finally a little bit more joy and more light. So now I think it's complete.
Wow. And it will be also for the future, let's say.
Yeah. I think this is our style. Yes, the colors of our music are mostly connected with this.
The band members from Riverside have a different kind of background musically. Piotr Kozieradzki even played in a strong death metal band Hate. How do you combine these backgrounds in Riverside?
I was struggling for a few years, but now it's, this is the past already, because it was like
of course.
12, 15 years ago. So we forgot about it already. But I think that was the beginning of Riverside was kind of interesting because of these backgrounds and the fact that we played that kind of music, and the fact that our drummer was from death metal band was kind of interesting, when you play some ballads and the drums that doesn't fit to this. It's kind of weird, but also very original, So, but with every album we try to develop our skills. So I think now on this one the drums, they definitely don't sound like from death metal band.
No. But I think it's nice, because I saw also one time a picture that one guy had this Slayer shirt on.
Sure, yeah.
But that is, I think is nice, because
he's very into metal stuff, and this is what we want to say, that we listen to a lot of music.
Yeah, but I also want to say it doesn't matter. Let's say when you would
for sure, we're not that kind of band that we are listening to progressive music, from the 70s. Of course, each of us has a favorite, let's say, moods and everything. I'm very into ambient and electronic music. Our keyboard player loves Hammond stuff, all these Deep Purple. John Lord, Keith Emerson thing, Meatloaf, a drummer, is very into metal, and Slayer is his favorite. Our guitar player, this is just like me, we listen to a lot of music, but his favorite band is Dead Can Dance. He's got all these tattoos that he has on his hands. Is Dead Can Dance, right? So that's kind of stuff. And we play now the music from 80s, right? Like Aha. So I don't know. It's everything is so weird, but it also shows that we are the band that we don't give a damn of the rules and the boundaries. That's the future of the music.
Yes, I think it's like that. Because always, like what I was telling, and all these magazines always want to put you somewhere. It sounds like
it's very hard to
or
be.
It's
very tricky to us, to play festivals, because we don't fit to metal festivals anymore, and we don't want to, pick the hardest tracks for the set list only to exist there. We did it once, and we will never repeat this mistake again, because we should show ourselves who we are, where we are in this moment, and not try to pretend or behave like someone else. So that's the problem, because the same is with magazines. If you play metal music, you have got much more press, But if you play just rock, okay, so what do you have?
Because rock,
classic rock, something, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Besides classic rock, is mostly focused on these bands from 70s, 60s, and 80s, and doors are closed for the new bands. So it's really weird, so very weird. But well, we try to do our stuff still and balance between this metal, rock, pop, whatever.
But if you're here and there in the top 10, people look through it already. I think
so. I think so.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Even in Poland, maybe, where you have also this.
Well,
if it is not Behemoth, then or I don't know what, then directly,
Yeah, but that's the proof, you know, that we just from the beginning wanted to establish something which is our own, create our own style. We didn't want to be second Porcupine Tree. We wanted to be Riverside, but of course, to be honest, when some people compare us to Porcupine Tree now, compare us to Steven Wilson's music, but when you take a look at it, that's true. There is no one else who plays that kind of sounds and that kind of, you know, that you can play a little bit metal, melodics, you know, ballads and stuff. So it used to be Pain of Salvation in the past, maybe someone else, but that's it. You know, Opeth now starts to sound like the bands from 80s, 70s. I mean, very vintage.
Yeah.
No metal, no growl anymore. So it's just like, I don't know. But we are not against, you know, being compared to, let's say, the bands like Porcupine Tree or Anathema, whatever. But when you just take a look at it, it's not so many bands playing that kind of music.
That's true.
So, totally get it.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Now, in Poland, I think progressive rock and metal is quite popular. Even when Poland was behind the Iron Curtain, in this communistic times, let's say, then people were already very interested in Genesis, Yes, Pink Floyd, Camel, King Crimson, etc. And in Poland, of course, you had SBB, Czekoslaw Niemen, Depress, Putka Suflera. How you think Poland has such a background? How you think why or how it come that Poland has this background?
Because of the radio, we've got very popular. We still have this very popular Radio 3, and there was lots of very charismatic radio personas that they had their own programs full of that kind of music. There's, for instance, the guy who's called Piotr Kozieradzki, and he had a program, Minimax, and in the ancient times he always played the whole albums, the whole records, and he even gave a time for just switching the side in the tape cassette. So we know we had a lot of chance to listen to all Pink Floyd, all Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, and everything. You know, we've got this in the radio, and
no problem with Jaruzelski or I don't know, or was always.
Well, of course, we've got also the you know, the bands from 80s. Lots of bands try to. How can I say that? Fight with the communism, writing the lyrics in that way that the censorship couldn't do anything with this, right? So that was the poetry, and that was a challenge, and everything changed, unfortunately, after '89. But we've been very educated, you know, and that's why we know about this music, you know. That kind, not only songs but the entire albums, you know. Probably that was one of these first experiences.
But I think nowhere they did it like that in Holland. I cannot imagine that a radio station is playing a whole album of I don't know who. But maybe that was also behind the Iron Curtain. There was something special time maybe.
Maybe I don't know. But there was a radio in Poland that we've been listening to the entire albums.
Oh, great. And in the 90s, of course, we had also in Poland, I mean, the Quidam, College, Abraxas, Albion. Were these bands also some kind of inspiration?
They just gone. There wasn't inspiration. They were just the time, the matter of time. Of course, I'm still in a good relationship with Maciek from Quidam. He was also the guest on my solo project, Lunatic Soul, for instance. And probably we'll create something together. But all these bands, the 90s, there was a lot of bands playing prog rock, but they just died. I don't know what happened with them. Maybe they'll exist still, but somewhere in the background. Probably it was very connected that lots of people thought that it's totally enough to have just normal, regular job, and you know, do the music as a hobby. But a few years later, unfortunately, you couldn't do this that way. You know, you had to sacrifice a little bit yourself or take some risk, and we took a risk. And there's lots of, maybe not a lots of bands, but there are a few bands from Poland that they just took a risk too, like the Behemoth you mentioned, or Vader. You know, we're just playing shows. We are musicians. This is our full-time job.
Yeah.
And in that way, you can exist as a musician, but first you need to take a risk. Right?
That's always.
That's
a problem.
not so many people can afford that because they're afraid of. There's this. They need to discard their fear
But
the unknown.
If you have a house, you have a family. You cannot just say to
the
your wife, I'm going on with college, or I don't know, all these bands.
Sure.
You cannot just do it.
So that's why you need to establish your rules at the beginning before everything starts and say, okay, I'm a musician, this is my job. Hello. You can be a sailor too, you can be the police officer, right? And but yeah, it's very hard to do this, but when you want to, success, it's kind of connected with some commitments. You need to do something, for 100%. I always wanted to be a musician, artist, and do this for a living, connect my job with my passion. So I chose that life, and I'm
happy
doing this.
that you're in.
Yep.
And what about now your project, Lunatic Soul?
It's still going. I'm not going
still
to stop.
Still thinking about it?
Yeah, I'm still thinking of the new album. I'm still thinking of some new ideas and new projects. To be honest, I'm just starting to, do something. Finally. Everything that happened the last 10 years, it was just like warm up. I think that this is our time, and next Riverside albums and next Lunatic Soul albums, maybe something more will be just will be finally something that maybe people will say, okay, that's interesting.
Oh, right. Do you still have a dream for Riverside, for instance, something you really should happen, maybe in your dreams or?
Well, I think there's lots of things that should happen with Riverside, and I think we are step by step, always going a little bit more up. I'm thinking maybe one day we'll finally record the double album, which will be all, the whole version or whatever. So far we just try to do everything very natural, so I'm not trying to think like 5 years ahead, because everything's changed very quickly, so I need to be careful with this.
But do you have something like a goal that you like to become bigger and bigger?
Sure, but I'm not I know my place, I know how it works, and I know that many people that wants to be very famous, they just stop exist within 2 years. You need to do your own stuff. You need to record your albums. You need to be honest with your music. You need to do your job, and one day that will be the profit. Maybe something happened. Maybe there will be one song that appeal to many people. I don't know that yet, but we should just simply, do this. Dark Side of the Moon. That was like 6th or 7th album of Pink Floyd, right? Kiss Me by The Cure, the same. The Joshua 3 by U2. Everything just like. But they did this. So maybe one day we'll also record something like, I don't know, Synchronicity. I don't know, but we can't give up and do our own stuff.
You just were saying you were playing in the USA, and there were also other countries, South America or Japan.
We haven't been in Japan yet, but we've been in Brazil and Chile for the first time this year. Okay. So every year there's something new, and there's it's cool.
Probably more to come.
Probably. Maybe next year we'll come to India. We'll see.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice.
Any last word to the readers of Bonavox, let's say, as an...
I would like to thank you for the support and for the belief. I know that many people are with us, especially in Holland, from the beginning, since our first album, and they are just growing up and developing with us together. And so we would like to thank you very much. And of course, we would like to say hello to everyone that for who Love in a Time Machine was the first album, right?
Yes, of course. So there are also people, just starting the road.
So, yep.
Oh, great. Thank you very much
Thank
for this time you had for us.
Yeah, thank you. That was a pleasure. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for delay.